But first, on this big exclusive, Pakistan's terror blueprint in Jammu and Kashmir, let us say good evening to our guests. I have Dr. Nirmal Singh, former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, joining us this evening. SP Waidza, former DGP Jammu and Kashmir, with us. Dr. Monica Verma, Strategic Affairs expert, is with us. And I also have Group Captain MJ Vinod, who not only flies planes but also knows a thing or two about these drones. And we've been analyzing the kind of drones that are being used, where they are emanating from, and what damage they can cause. One by one, we'll get into it all. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, sometime around the 29th of May 2022, it all started with a drone, a hexacopter being shot down. And we'll start with that very detail. This is the hexacopter drone that kicked off the probe. Have a look at these images. Have a look at these images. This is the probe that kicked off the drone. The drone actually crossed into India from Pakistan. It was downed by a Jammu and Kashmir Police Patrol. The date was the 29th of May 2022. And what was unique was that the payload was wrapped around it. It had 7 UBGL shells, and it also had magnetic bombs tied to it. These are the images that you are seeing on national television for the first time. The drone crossed into India from Pakistan. It was shot down. About 16, 17 bullets were fired at it. And that's when this entire hexacopter, which is a complex unit, was brought down. The payload was wrapped. It was wrapped in gold and sellotape, taped very, very hard. The bomb disposal squads were brought to check whether there was incendiary explosive material, or was it, could it be touched, and could it be removed, and could it be broken down. And that's when this all happened in Delhi, in Kathua, along the line of control. Now let's ask Group Captain MJ Vinod as he's joining us at this point. Captain MJ Vinod, this hexacopter, what is the kind of payload it can carry? And the image that we are putting out, this seems to be something that can fly at least 25 to 30 kilometers. A black hexacopter.
Thank you, Anand. And the amount of research you do for the right stand to get the right news and from the primary sources. Kudos to you and your team. Be that as it may, let me tell, for the benefit of our viewers, one important piece of information that you covered. You know what is that important piece of information? That the payload was wrapped around with a sellotape.
Yeah.
That information is gold mine for me. I will tell you how. A drone takes off from place A, goes to place B. A drone controlled by somebody in place A cannot land at place B if the control is solely with the guy at place A. For example, if he is launching from Pakistan, he cannot land, and the drone cannot shut down. And if it shuts down, it cannot take off with the guy who is in control of this drone. Which means this drone has to have 2 receivers, or 1 receiver synced to 2 controls. That is what I was telling you about. This piece of information is gold for me. It's a gold mine information.
Yes, because
something similar, a paper.
Because we have the images. The images clearly show that the entire payload was tightly, firmly attached to the drone. So when it was shot down, the whole unit fell down together in one unit. It was still attached to it. And what it had is about 7 magnetic bombs and 6 UBGL shells.
Let's break this down. How would this drone? How will this payload be removed by the intended person? The drone has to come and land. The propellers have to stop. The moment propeller stops, the drone, completely sort of shuts down. Now you have to take out the battery. Now you have to take out this wrapped around thing. Now you have to put the battery in. Now that person is not in direct line of control with this drone because he has lost the line of control, the line of sight. So somebody from here has to launch this drone back to where it came from. That means it is slightly more technologically intensive. Now, this drone is a silent equipment. Why I am saying this is, today we have facilities all along the border. If this drone was actively transmitting, to pick up this drone, we have facility available. We do not have, for that matter, no radar in the world has capability to pick up the drone at sufficient distance to
Correct.
prosecute it.
Correct.
We have at best 5 kilometers is what we can pick up using a radar. That means you will require thousands of radars all along the border, which the wherewithal no country has. I mean, the best country in terms of money, US, even they don't have this kind of resources to pick up this drone. Another important thing which you covered is the type of payload that it carries.
Yeah.
To me, that is the second piece of gold mine. That is all this in terms of how to carry out drone forensics. A paper was written by me and my team and given to one of the organizations in the Ministry of Home Affairs. Very, very important for us to set up a drone forensics lab as on yesterday, not as on tomorrow. Because these drone forensics labs all over in the police force, they are going to give us wealth of such information which I decoded with just two information that was available to me from you. So all this put together, we have to have a positive defensive mechanism. But for the sake of our viewers, let me tell you one very interesting example. हमने बचपन में, we must have seen this movie where M.G. Ramachandran is fighting using talwar, or some in the old Hindi movies where talwar की लड़ाई हो रही है, or बंदूक की लड़ाई हो रही है. What does it indicate to us is that you cannot bring a knife to a gunfight.
Correct.
We have to make the cost of war so high for the enemy that, like you said, how proxy war stopped, how Thousand Cut stopped. This also needs to stop by taking the offensive in a similar manner to the enemy, or maybe slightly more.
Right.
For which Indian government is working really hard. We have the Tapas coming up very soon. Tapas is going to wreak havoc over all these low-cost drone operators who are strewn along the border.
Well, let's hope sooner the better, because we've just got more inputs coming in. There is lots to share in terms of the information. It's a wealth. So I'll go to all our guests one by one.